Most people do not lose in Jiu-Jitsu because they need one more submission. They lose because the moment someone passes their guard, mounts them, takes their back, or starts crushing them from side control, their confidence disappears, their breathing changes, and the game they normally play turns into pure survival. That is why a new philosophy of positional escapes by Danaher is such an important instructional to review, because this is not really a course about escaping bad positions just to reset the round. It is a course about turning the worst moments in Jiu-Jitsu into the beginning of your next attack. So the positions that usually make people panic become positions where you still have a plan. This instructional is available on BJJ Fanatics for $197. And in this review, I want to tell you who should buy it, who should avoid it, what the best part is, what the biggest weakness is, and why I think the information is strong enough to rate very highly, even though the course feels longer than it needs to be. If you are dangerous when you are winning, but you fall apart when someone gets on top, this might be one of the most useful instructionals you can study, because good escapes do not only save you from bad positions, they give you the confidence to attack, wrestle, scramble, and take risks everywhere else. The real value of this course is that Danaher teaches you why you are stuck before he teaches you how to get out. And that matters because most people know a few escapes from class. But the moment a heavier or better opponent changes the pressure, blocks the hip, controls the head, follows the first movement, or switches the angle, the escape suddenly feels useless. Instead of only telling you to bridge, shrimp, frame, or turn, Danaher explains what makes a pin work, what the top person needs to control, and what part of your body must be freed before the escape can actually happen, which makes the course slower to watch, but much easier to use when the position is not clean. This is the reason the instructional feels useful in real training, because real opponents do not hold you in perfect textbook positions, they adjust, squeeze, follow, and force you to understand the escape instead of just remembering the movement. If you are the kind of student who says an escape worked during drilling but failed during sparring, this is probably the exact gap Danaher is trying to fix, because the course is not built around memorizing one answer. It is built around reading the pin and understanding what has to change first. The biggest improvement this can give you is not that you suddenly become impossible to hold down, because nobody becomes impossible to hold down, but that you stop feeling lost when the pressure changes, and that alone can make your defense feel much calmer. The best idea in the instructional is that escaping should not always mean going back to neutral, because Danaher keeps pushing the idea that when you escape, you should often come out into something dangerous, and that changes the whole way you think about being underneath someone. If the top person can pin you without risk, they will attack with complete confidence, but if your escapes lead into leg attacks, arm attacks, strong guards, or immediate counterattacks, then even dominant positions become more dangerous for them, because they know that one overcommitment can turn their control into your offense. That is what makes this course different from a normal escape course, because it does not make you think of defense as the part of the round where you are just trying not to lose. It makes you think of defense as a trapdoor back into offense, where the other person thinks they are safe until the escape starts creating problems for them. That idea is useful for beginners because it gives them a better reason to stay calm, and it is useful for advanced athletes because it makes defense more connected to the rest of the game instead of feeling like a separate survival skill. If this is the kind of escape game you want to build, I put the link to the full Danaher Positional Escapes instructional in the description and also pinned it in the comments, so you can check the course page, see the full contents, and decide if it fits what your game needs. The course covers the major bad positions that almost everyone struggles with, including mount, back control, body triangle problems, knee on belly, side control, north-south, and turtle. So you are not buying one small answer to one small problem, you are buying a full defensive map for the positions that keep showing up in real rounds. The mount section is one of the most useful parts because Danaher spends a lot of time on keeping escapes and elbow escape variations, which helps if you always feel trapped under someone's hips and cannot create enough space to recover without exposing your arms or giving away another bad position. The back escape section is also strong, because he makes you focus on the early battles, especially the hands, the head, and the body triangle, instead of waiting until the choke is already deep, and then trying to escape when it is almost too late. The side control and north-south sections are heavy but important, because Danaher does not treat side control like one simple position. He treats it as many different pins, where your head, hips, shoulders, and arms can all be controlled in different ways, and that is one of the main reasons this course works. A lot of students use the same escape against every version of pressure and then blame the technique when it fails, but this course makes it clear that the real problem is often not the escape itself. It is that you picked the wrong answer for the wrong kind of pin. The turtle section is useful for the same reason, because turtle shows up everywhere in real rounds, especially when you are escaping side control, defending takedowns, wrestling up, or trying to recover after a scramble. And Danaher treats it like a real defensive position, instead of just a place where you hide and hope nothing bad happens. The biggest positive is that this course makes bad positions feel less scary, and that matters because panic is one of the biggest reasons people lose from bottom position. Even when they technically know an escape, people push with straight arms, turn the wrong way, expose their neck, give up their back, waste all their energy, and then think they have bad cardio, when the real problem is that they never had a calm escape plan under pressure. Danaher gives you that plan by making you understand what to protect, what to free, when to move, and how to come out of the escape with a real attacking chance instead of just surviving for a few more seconds. For beginners, this can make bad positions feel less hopeless, because instead of thinking that mount, side control, or back control means the round is basically over, they start seeing the small battles that still matter and the first steps that can bring them back into the round. For advanced athletes, the value is different because they already know how to survive, but this course can help them escape with more purpose, connect their defense straight back into their offense, and make the top player feel less comfortable while attacking. That is why I like the course, because it is not only trying to make you harder to submit, it is trying to make you harder to dominate. And there is a big difference between someone who survives bad positions and someone who makes bad positions expensive for the person on top. The biggest negative is that this course feels longer than it needs to be, because Danaher has excellent information here, but he often takes the long road to explain something that could have been said much faster. That does not mean the course is bad, because the escapes work, the ideas are useful, and the system is very strong, but there are definitely moments where the explanation feels stretched, repeated, and padded out instead of getting straight to the point. For some people, that will not matter, because they like hearing the full reason behind every idea. But for a lot of students, the same lesson could have been tighter, cleaner, and easier to finish if some of the extra talking was cut down. That is the main reason this course is not a perfect 10 out of 10 for me, because the value is absolutely there, but the viewing experience can feel heavier than it needs to be. The best way to watch it is probably not to rush through everything, but to pick the position that keeps beating you the most. Study that section first, test it in sparring, and then come back for the next position once the first one starts making sense. That is where this course becomes much more valuable, because if you treat it like a library instead of a movie, you can keep returning to the exact section you need every time your training exposes a new problem. You should buy this if bad positions are one of the biggest holes in your jiu-jitsu, because if you are a white belt or blue belt who constantly gets mounted, flattened, controlled, and tired under pressure, this course can give you a clear map instead of just telling you to survive. If you are more advanced, this can still help, because the real value is not only the escapes themselves, it is the way Danaher connects defense directly to attack, which is where the course becomes useful for people who already know the basic movements, but want a stronger idea behind them. If you train mostly without the kimono, the course fits very naturally, but even if you train in the kimono, many of the ideas about frames, head position, hip movement, inside control, and escaping into attack still carry over. If your escapes are already strong and you only want something exciting to watch, this is probably not the first thing you need. But if your offense disappears the moment someone gets on top, then this is exactly the kind of course that can change your whole game. This is also a good choice for the person who keeps blaming size and strength every time they get stuck, because even though size and strength matter, a lot of bottom position failure comes from not knowing which battle you are losing first. At $197, this is not cheap, but I think the price makes sense for the right person because escapes are not a small side skill. They are the safety net under everything else you do. Weak escapes make you careful everywhere because you attack less, wrestle less, scramble less, and take fewer risks because you are afraid of what happens if the exchange goes wrong, while strong escapes make you freer because you know that even if someone gets on top, you still have a way back into the round. My final rating for A New Philosophy of Positional Escapes by John Danaher is 9 out of 10 because the course is deep, practical, and extremely useful for anyone who keeps getting pinned, flattened, mounted, or controlled from the back. But I cannot give it a 10 because too many parts feel stretched out by extra explanation that makes the instructional longer than it needs to be. The best thing about the course is that it does not just teach you how to escape, it teaches you how to escape with the goal of becoming dangerous again. And that is the reason I still rate it so high even with the pacing problem. If you are serious about fixing your defense, this is one of the strongest instructionals you can study for your bottom game, especially if you are tired of surviving bad positions instead of actually escaping them and turning them into offense. If you want to study the full instructional, I left the link in the description and pinned it in the comments so it is easy to find after the video. And if the problems I talked about sound like the exact problems you keep running into during training, go check the course page, look through the sections, and see if this is the right one for your game. And if this review helped you, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so future videos find you automatically. Thank you for watching.